Alright, we are live. Harley. Okay, so I was going through and brushing them with the slicker brush. And I'm starting with the head, and then I'll do the line brushing. So I like to start with the head. Alrighty. And today, actually, it wasn't too bad. Usually when I pick him up, that's when he kind of does the whole biting thing. But today was not bad at all. He was laying in bed, he was just kind of glaring at me. He didn't growl or show me his teeth or anything. And I let him relax, while I was cleaning my tools earlier. And now, he's awesome. Like, holy cow. Obviously, he doesn't really like getting his face brushed, especially I think it's because he's losing his sight. If you look at his eyes, you can see kind of like silver in his eyes. Hey, what's up, Pauline? So I think maybe, especially when dogs start to lose their vision, they don't really like stuff going on in front of their eyes or their face. So I think he's reacting a little more because of that. But there we go. Because his muzzle was all cruddy and thick, kind of matted. So I'm breaking up the mats and all the bundles of hair. First with the slicker brush, and then I'm going to go through with the comb and then clear out the pores with the undercoat rake a little bit more. And then we'll give him a bath, dry him up, oh, give him a nice haircut. There we go. There you go, buddy. Alrighty. So this is the same Harley who I groomed maybe like 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And he was that really aggressive Yorkie. And the name of that YouTube video was Grooming an Aggressive Yorkie. And he was a terror back then, but now, I think he's starting to tolerate me. And actually, after the groom even, he starts to give me kisses. Oh, Harley. Maybe not now, because I'm still grooming him. Good boy. Alrighty. But once he's done, he's so happy. He starts prancing around. Oh, look at that. So around this time of year, he always used to get really severe allergic reactions, bumps everywhere. But now it's not so bad. His skin doesn't feel so bumpy. His coat doesn't feel so dull and rough. And I honestly believe, in my opinion, it's because every time I groom him, I go through this prep process and I make sure his pores are nice and clear. I clear out all the dander built up in those pores, making it all bumpy, right? There we go. And he actually reacts to it. He's leaning into it. Maybe I'll turn the table here so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. There we go. And same thing with the back legs. And I'm not doing it hard. You hear that brushing noise because there's a lot of dead hair that is catching on. But I'm not pushing hard or putting a lot of pressure on it because their skin is very sensitive and very fragile. There's only 5, thin layers of skin for dogs. So for them, you want to be as gentle as possible. So I'm just kind of lightly going over the hair, going over the coat, just to try to break it up a little bit. So when I go through with the comb, it's not going to pull too much on all the tangled bundles of hair. There we go. Because this is going to kind of help separate those hairs and break it all up. Isn't Harley doing amazing? Even for his back legs. Because before it was his hind area. By touching him back here, that's when he would turn and bite. But now he's doing so good with everything. He finally trusts me. Oh, look at that back leg going. There you go. That feel good, buddy? Oh, there you go. That feel good, buddy? Oh, I see all this dander coming out. Oh, man. Maybe I can show it on the camera. Let me see here. Maybe I can turn the camera around. I'm not sure if you can see it. There's all of this powdery, dandery stuff coming out of his skin. Yeah, I can feel it even. Oh, look at that. It's right there. See all that? See that powdery, dandery stuff? Some of it's black, some of it's white. Look at that. And you can feel it coming out of his skin. And that's what's, causing all the skin irritation and causing his skin to feel tight. Terry, he's getting more aligned with your process. Great. Oh, nice. By the way, hello from Colorado. What's up? From Colorado, Terry Miller. Pinkie Pie, Harley is doing awesome. Yeah, right? He's doing so good. Okay. There you go, buddy. All right. Oh, wow. Wow, just the dander coming out. Okay. This is the most important part of the groom. Oh, I could feel like right here in his, right here, you could feel like bumps. It's like bumpy. And as I brush over it, I could actually feel the bumps kind of smoothing out. Because there's so much of this. And even though it doesn't look like much, it is enough to cause that skin to bump, kind of get full and get all bumpy. So by removing that from out of the skin, now the skin is actually feeling smoother to the touch. Pinkie Pie. I just imagine brushing would feel like the ultimate back scratch. Yeah, right? We're stimulating the skin, we're removing all of that dead hair, and along with the dead hair comes all that dander and cellular debris that was stuck in those pores, just clogged in there, packed full. And we're just removing all of that. So now he's starting to feel much better, less itchy, less uncomfortable. His skin's not feeling so tight and bumpy. And then when I go through with the comb, it's going to get more of that dead hair out that's trapped in those pores. And then when I actually give him a bath, then the water and the shampoo will have room, because I made space in those pores. It'll have room to get in there and actually do a really good job. Hey, from Chicago. All right. Good boy. Like the armpits. So the reason why the armpits and down here, like where the thighs are, the inner thighs, the reason why those areas get so bumpy so quickly is because that's where they call the sebaceous zones. That's where oil is being produced the most. And so sometimes, because that's where oil is being produced the most, sometimes those are the areas where the pores get clogged up the fastest. My favorite, oh, what's up? David's in the house. I like to think it's like how we use a pumice stone on our feet. Dogs need their skin cleared out. Nice. Good point, David. Every once in a while, David has some very helpful moments. Not sure if you guys follow him on his page, My Favorite Dog Dad. Pretty much a waste of time. I mean, let's just be let's just be honest. Pretty much a waste of your time, right? By watching My Favorite Dog Dad or Our Favorite. Sorry, I just got a phone call. I think that was David calling me. Dude, don't be. No, I was kidding. But yeah, I'm just kidding. I like David a lot, and for those of you who don't know, David and I have a little bit of a romantic relationship going on. Pretty much one-sided, on his part. But it's all good. I don't blame a man for having a crush on me. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. But anyways, all right. But no, I appreciate that analogy, David. That's a really good one, like a pumice stone. Am I saying that right? Pumice, or is it pumice? Anyways. All right. But yeah, this is basically like exfoliating the skin. It's an exfoliation. There we go. It's skincare. Good grooming is really about good skincare, because it's not really the hair, it's not really making the hair all nice and clean and smelling nice. That's not really going to do much for their skin health, It's about clearing out the pores and giving the skin a good, healthy environment to heal itself and to function. And a healthy skin is what's going to grow this beautiful, healthy hair. Alrighty. Actually, there we go. So I can still feel it when I run my fingers down. It feels like, you know, rough. I can feel like the dander. It's almost like little grains of sand. But again, I don't want to overstimulate the skin with the slicker brush, because the skin is, you know, very fragile and very sensitive, especially dogs. And, you know, and it has these, you know, metal bristles, so it kind of scrapes my skin too. And if I kept doing it over and over again, it'll start to get red and raw. I don't want to do that to his skin. But look at that. Isn't that crazy? That dander stuff that comes out with it. Okay, so now I'm gonna use a comb, a metal comb, because the metal comb is a little more gentle. See, even on my own skin, it feels much better. And I'm gonna use this to kind of get everything out. I didn't start with this because it would have pulled too much and caused him too much discomfort. So I like to break up the hair with the comb first, with the brush first. And then, you're okay, Harley. There you go. You're all right. There we go. And get it out. And I like to use my thumb with it as well, almost like a stripping knife, to get some of this, you know, just cruddy stuff that gets in there, like eye gunk when they're eating and stuff. Well, when they're eating and things like that. I'm trying to work on my speaking ability, my speech, my speak. Trying not to use too many filler words now. If you guys haven't heard, Toastmasters is a really great organization to work on your speaking ability and improving your speaking ability, I guess. But in the best way possible, using our words more effectively. Toastmasters really helps. And last night, had a great Toastmasters meeting, and I was the out counter, meaning I was the one keeping track of people who, like I just said, people using filler words whenever they speak. I was the one who tallies all that up and reports at the end of the evening how many times people said which filler words, like like, so, basically, actually, words that I just said, again, words that don't really help add to the speech or what you're saying. In fact, using filler words too much kind of takes away from the speech. You're okay, Harley. You're all right, buddy. There you go. Good boy. Because by saying words like basically, or actually, or kind of like, so, I just said again. But by saying words like that, it does kind of, I just say kind of. And the thing is, now I just said again. Now that I'm actually being conscientious, aware of it, and I'm trying to not use filler words so much, I do catch myself now. It's actually kind of like difficult to say anything now because I use filler words so much. But a good example of why filler words are not a good idea when you're trying to present an idea to people, a concept that might have a big impact on somebody. If you think about Martin Luther King's speech, "I have a dream," what if he said, basically, "I have a dream, kind of like one day," totally takes away from the impact that speech would have had, that speech did have. So they say that it's better to just pause rather than try to fill that empty space with words like, so, things like that. So Martin Luther King, he paused Said, I have a dream. I just said so. But Toastmasters, that's what I was getting at. If you like, they have clubs all over the world, and every club works a little different. There's probably a club that's local to you. I highly recommend getting involved in Toastmasters, because I think that we all have valuable lessons and experiences to share with everyone. We all do. Everybody has something of value to offer. But I just said, But sometimes, because we're not practicing our speaking skill, we're not practicing and harnessing, really honing that skill of being able to communicate effectively. We convince ourselves sometimes that we don't have valuable lessons or ideas to share, when we actually do. We just need to work on our ability to communicate them more effectively. There we go. So this, I'm not really getting a lot out, not like before. Wow, and this took years to get to this. Wow, I just saw a big flake just fly out of the skin. Look at that. And it's all over the table. And anyways, before, even with the comb here, this is actually really good. I'd be getting bundles and bundles and clumps of hair, dead hair, and a bunch of dander and all that. But now, look at this. It's not so bad, even though we're in the fall. And this is the time of year when he would really flare up. It takes time. Just like when we go to the gym and start working out, you don't really see results immediately. But when you continue to do it over and over, and it becomes a consistent habit, and it becomes something consistent that you're doing on a regular basis, then you start to see results. And with Harley here, after years of just getting shaved down, because of the way he acted, because he was so aggressive, I think I mentioned it in that first video as well, when he was so aggressive, we shaved him down. And that's all we would do. We just kept shaving and shaving, because the idea was, because he didn't like grooming so much and he was so aggressive, we were just trying to get him as short as possible to let him grow out so we can go the longest between grooms and he wouldn't have to deal with it so often. But now, by grooming him pretty much once a month and keeping his hair long, and instead of just shaving him and locking everything in those pores and just letting the skin deal with it itself, we're helping the skin along by removing it all out of there. By doing proper skincare on a regular basis over the years, now we have this skin that's showing really significant improvements, noticeable, obvious improvements. It just took a while. It just took some time and consistency. There we go, buddy. Good boy. There we go. Okay. Wow, his skin is feeling so nice. And his hair too, silky, soft, and smooth. Alright, see that? That's what we're getting out of him. And it's really not much anymore. So now the final step, I'm just going to go through with the undercoat rake. Remove that undercoat, that dead undercoat. There we go, and I'm not really getting much. Nice. And you never really know till you get in there with the tools. Sometimes I'll feel a dog and I'll be like, oh wow, I think it's gonna be an easy day. But then you start going in there with the tools and the comb doesn't move, the undercoat rake's just catching a bunch of stuff, like, I just said, but the tools really is the test, is the true test. You can run your fingers through the coat, but you can't really tell how much work that it's actually going to be and how much is really needing to come out of the skin. It's really the tools that'll let you know. And when you go through with the tools, that's when you start to really see how much was packed in those pores. There we go. And a good rule of thumb would be to just brush until it slows down, until you're not catching, until you can feel that the brush is not really catching so much that dead undercoat. It's not really meeting a lot of resistance when you go through. So when you feel that it's slowing down, that's a good stopping point. And also when you feel the skin and the hair and it feels nice and soft and silky and smooth, that's a good stopping point. So for me, it's not like, oh, I did this for 10 minutes or I did this for 15 minutes, now I stop. It's not on a timer for me. It's more just letting the skin and the tools let me know when to stop. There you go. And honestly, I didn't think that it would be this easy today. I was kind of expecting there to be a lot more work to do in the prep stage because we are going into a change of the seasons. It is starting to become fall now, and before last year around this time, his skin was going through a lot and it was blowing out a lot of dead coat, but this skin is doing much better. There we go. And the bumpiness that I felt back here before on the skin, it felt really bumpy and rough, like tiny little pimples, but now it's all smooth. See that? Now I can feel it's all smooth. Nice. And sometimes, I will admit, sometimes when you look down there, no, it's actually all right today. But sometimes when you get a lot that comes out of their skin, you'll see that their skin is a little bit red and raw. You'll see like little red dots and things like that where all that stuff came out of their skin because it was packed in those pores. And when you release it, sometimes you'll get redness, those little red dots. That's why I believe it's best to do it before the bath, because when I wash them, I can actually see, while I let the shampoo sit for 5 to 10 minutes, I can actually see the skin starting to return back to its normal color. And it starts to cool that back down. And then by the time I get them all dry, with the dryer I can actually see right down to their skin because the air is blowing all that hair away. By the time they're dry, their skin is usually okay. Every once in a while, like the doodle I did yesterday, there was a spot right here on the back foot. It was kind of red and raw because there was just so much that came out from there. And it was, even with the comb, I wasn't even doing anything rough. I was just combing out all that dead hair. And it was kind of scabby down there. The pores got so packed and it was so full that it actually started to get scabby, right? And as I removed the crustiness, all the crusty scabs and everything down there and all the dead hair, there was a little bit of a sore spot there, like a hot spot. But it's important to note that I didn't create that hot spot. I did and scabbed over. I just exposed it. I brought it to the surface. But now that area is clear, right, and it's smooth, and the skin is now clean and clear, and I cleaned it really good with the shampoo. I let the shampoo sit so it can penetrate in the skin. And then I sprayed it with a good antiseptic spray called Curacid. Now that the skin is clean and treated with some medicine, with some medicated spray, now the skin can actually heal itself, because the body is always working to heal itself. But sometimes when it has so much to deal with, it really can't, right? So by doing that, what we're doing is we're clearing the skin out, and then by using good shampoo, and then areas that might need a little extra attention, we treat it with some antiseptic spray, antibacterial, antifungal. Now the skin has a good environment to actually heal itself. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to facilitate good skin health. And if there are areas of the skin that are compromised, we want to clean that area out as best we can, clear those pores, and then clean the skin, clean that area as best we can thoroughly, and then treat it with it doesn't have to be the spray that I use, but really good, something that's a good antibacterial, antifungal, anti-yeast, antiseptic spray that will help promote healing. And then that area, that hot spot, can actually heal itself. All right. It's a very, almost a holistic, it's a very natural approach. Well, I wouldn't say natural because we are going to be using some topical sprays and, we're using shampoo, but it's not completely holistic, but it is a more natural approach than just getting antibiotics or steroids and just trying to use pills to cure the problem. It's actually getting in there and getting to the root of the issue, right? By pulling out all the dead hairs by the root. Look at all that. Clearing that skin, making sure it feels nice and smooth. And that way they're comfortable, their skin can breathe, and it has a good environment to start healing itself if there are any areas that need healing. Good boy. So for me, in my opinion, good grooming really is about good skin health, good hygiene. There we go. There we go. It's about taking care of the factory, right? Because the skin is the hair's factory. The skin is what's producing the hair, what's creating the hair. It grows the hair from the skin. So, in order to make sure we get a great product, which is the hair, in order to make sure the skin is creating beautiful, healthy hair, then we need to make sure that the skin, at the factory level, but we want to make sure that the skin is clean and functioning properly, and it has the good, clean environment to do so. That way, when we take care of then we don't have to really worry about the product being produced because we know that the factory is running efficiently, it's clean, it's healthy, and it's going to produce a beautiful coat for us. It's going to grow beautiful hair because the skin is the hair's factory. Right, buddy? There we go. Awesome. Make sure we get the neck area here. Go. Okay. There we go. Wow, it's feeling so much smoother now, so much silkier, cleaner. It doesn't feel, and if it does, when you run your fingers through it, you can feel like the texture, it still feels kind of rough. Well, then that means there's still more of this rough hair in there. Right, buddy? All right. You're almost done with the prep. There we go. okay, Harley. It's all right, buddy. There you go. You're okay. Good boy. Okay. Alrighty. So now it's still getting more. There we go. Nice. So now that I'm dealing with mostly live hair, because we just carded out, and by carding is just a term that means removing dead hair, but because we removed all the dead hair, well not all, but with live hair. So he's gonna, when I lather him up with shampoo, he's gonna lather up nicely, he's gonna rinse cleanly, he's gonna dry much faster. Now, I'd like to show you this, because right here, there was a little bit, it was a little rough area here. So, what you'll notice here, see that? And that's where he was kind of reacting as well when I was combing through that area. You could see his leg kind of kicking a little bit, and he was leaning into it. See that? It's a little bit rough. It's a little bit red and raw, you can tell right there. See that? So, look at that. So this is the areas where the skin was probably just clogged so full and it started to get infected. So, there we go. What I was saying is now that the skin is clear, I'm going to be using this Curacet spray, antiseptic spray, and just right on that area there. And the cool thing is, now this is the only area that's like that. Before, when I would groom him, during the prep stage, it would be all over his legs, you know. But now it's just this area here, which is awesome. There we go. I wonder why that's... There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through, just comb that area. Make sure I work that spray into the skin, get it down to the skin level, and just let it start working. There we go. There we go, buddy. So let that start treating the skin while I do the close shaving before the bath. Are there any questions? Okay, yeah, no questions. All right. So, there we go. Just to encourage them to stay on the table here. Okay, so I'm gonna be doing, I just said so. I'm gonna be doing his feet with a 30 blade here, a buttercut 30 blade for the pads of his feet. All right. So we'll start with the, oh, you're okay, buddy. You're okay. You're all right. It's all right. There we go. You're okay. All right. Let's get that other foot. There we go. Good boy, Harley. And I'm just skimming over the pads. I'm not digging into the pads or trying to get in between his paw pads, I'm just skimming, see? Just skimming lightly over the paw pads. That way we expose his paw pads so he doesn't slip and slide around. See that? So you can see the paw pads there. So he doesn't slip and slide around or anything. So we can see the paw pads now, but the hair in between is all trimmed up. But not the hair in between the paw pads, right? In between there is all still in there. Whoa. So that's there for protection. Ah, you're okay, buddy. See that? So he still has some tendencies when I groom him. Look at that. But he doesn't actually bite anymore. He just turns and he just, you know. See, I can scratch him back here now. Oh, good boy. All right, Harley. Sorry about that. He's like, okay, there we go. So you can see his eyes. So he's not angry, you know, he's not like enraged or anything. He just still has those tendencies like, that's uncomfortable. Don't do that, you know. Okay. So I'm gonna get your sanitary area, okay, buddy? Quick. He is still fast for an old man. You're okay. You're alright, Harley. So just doing the sanitary area. And I changed the blade. I'm doing it with a 10 blade now. So 10 is 1 millimeter longer than the 30. The 30 is a half a millimeter. And the 10 blade is the 1.5 millimeters. So it's just a little longer. That way there's less chance of causing skin irritation, like razor burn. And also I'm just skimming. I'm not really pressing down on the skin. Just lightly skimming over the skin. All right. Oh, and one interesting, because seeing the little black spots reminded me, before when I used to groom Harley, down here would be sores, bumps, but now it's just kind of brown spots. You see that? And that wouldn't be an indication of like maybe yeast or bacteria forming, but before this area would be so bumpy, like pelts, like it was really bad. But now it's actually smooth skin, and we just have to clear out that, and the shampoo will take care of that as well if there is any bacteria growing down there. Now for the tail. Oh, you're okay. He doesn't like his tail being messed with. You're okay. You're all right, Harley. Good boy. There we go. So a little bit of a fight, but nothing like, oh my goodness. Oh, sorry about that, buddy. I didn't want you to fall. Oh, you almost fell off the table. So a little bit of a fight, but nothing like before, right? Where he would get like just really wild. I'm sorry about that, Harley. Oh man, I didn't want you to fall down. Okay. So that was a little bit embarrassing. But at least he didn't fall, right? I caught him. Okay. There we go. Just one final comb out, make sure I got everything. There we go. There you are, Harley. Good boy. Now I'm gonna check his ears. Oh yeah, those ears look dirty. Okay, so I'm gonna clean the ears before the bath as well. You're okay. That table's right there. Okay. So just to show you what I'm seeing. Look at that. So his ear, there's like brown stuff building up in there. See all that? And there's definitely hair blocking the airway, the ear canal. So let me show you on this side as well. So this side, I haven't checked yet. Okay, so this side is not as bad. So it looks like his right side is worse than his left side. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is get some ear powder. There we go. I didn't have it out because I didn't expect to have to pluck his ears. But there's definitely some hair in there that's gonna block airflow. When there's hair in there like that, what's gonna happen is it's gonna start preventing air from flowing in, right? To be able to flow airflow. And once the air is blocked, then it starts to become warm and moist in that ear canal. And heat and moisture is a breeding ground for bacteria. And I learned that from Dr. Henrika. So just gently. Good boy. Oh, wow. Good boy. And all this. So, what I'm going to do is grab my hemostats so I can actually get in there. Okay, they're kind of like hemostats, my little. Alrighty. Because my fingers are just too big to get in there. There you go, buddy. Nice. You see that leg kicking, the back leg? Okay. Now it's starting to look much better. Oh, you're okay, Harley. Good boy. You're alright. You're okay, buddy. Okay. You're okay, Harley. There we go. So we're getting all that nastiness out of there. Okay. You're okay. You're alright. It's alright. No, Harley. No. No, buddy. Okay, here, let me get your feet a little bit. There you go. Good boy, Harley. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. Oh. Shoot. What in the world? There we go. Okay. Now they got bacteria all over that screen. Okay. All right, so we got enough out to where the ear can actually, where air can flow through the ear canal. So now what I'm gonna do is use Zymox ear cleaner to clean that ear out. A little bit of paper towel here. Shake it up. There we go. And then clean that ear out. Good boy. Nice. Looks much better. Okay. And since it is kind of yucky in there, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit in that ear canal as well. There we go. Work it in there. There you go. Then let them shake it out. There you go. So I can't say that it's an ear infection because I'm not a vet. I'm not allowed to diagnose. But I can say that the ear kind of does look swollen in there, and it does have all this like cruddy stuff in there. See that? It has all that brown cruddy stuff in there. So I can't say that it's an ear infection because it may not be. It might just be a dirty ear. But the ear inside, like the ear canal here, kind of does look a little swollen, and it was brown and yucky. And so that's when I can tell the owners about what I found and then have them go to the vet and say, you know, you may want to have your vet look at that because the ear canal does look a little swollen, but it's not so dirty anymore. See, it's nice and clean. There we go. And just let them know I did use ear cleaner and cleaned it out for you, but you know, next time you go see your vet, you might want to have your vet check out that ear before I touch the other ear. Good boy, Harley. Okay. That way I don't transfer whatever was going on in this ear over to the other ear. Alrighty. So this ear doesn't look as bad. The same thing, there's some hair here preventing air from flowing. You're okay, buddy. Let's see, I have a tail back here, so you're okay, Harley. Good boy. Okay. Let me clean these hemostats off so I can use them on the other ear. And so I'm going to use the Myers. There we go. Spray it on there one more time. And just let it sit for a little bit, right? So the disinfectant has time to kill all the bacteria that might have been on there. All right, any questions so far? After this ear cleaning, he's ready for the bath. That's right, I gotta clip the nails too. I like to clip the nails before the bath. So, that's what we'll do while we're waiting for the hemostats to get all clean. All right, buddy? Let's start with this one. So a little tip about nail clipping, especially black nails like this. Let me see if I can zoom up on it because I know I get a lot of questions about black nails. There we go. So, about black nails. As long as you know how to clip nails, look at his teeth. You're fine, Harley. So the nails, right, they're already pretty short because we do them regularly. You're okay. So instead of going flat against the pad horizontally, I like to go straight at it like a vertical line. You're okay, buddy. There we go. Okay. All right. Right, okay, so I like to go straight up on the toes, on the nail, so that way the nerve grows towards the bottom of the nail, right? So as long as you go right above it, then you can clip the nail, even though it's black, and you don't really run the risk of accidentally clipping that nerve. You're okay, buddy. There we go. See that? So instead of going down like this, right, I'm gonna tilt the clippers up and go on top of the nail. See that? You're okay. So even though you're working with black nails, you're okay, buddy. See, by going on top. See that? Same thing with the back leg. So instead of going from the bottom, go for the top and just clip the top of the nail. You're all right. You're okay. That way, even though the nerve is right there, you didn't really clip the nerve. There we go. Good boy. You're okay, buddy. There we go. You're okay. Oh, you're all right, buddy. You're okay. You don't have to be scared. So this is actually the same dog that I used the football hold video on. So you just kind of tuck him under here, right? With your arm, and then you hold him here. That way, you just cradle them. You just cradle them like a little football. There you go. Good boy. And that way, even though they protest and turn, you know, you can still get the nails clipped. Good boy. Good boy. Good, Harley. Okay. One last split. Now, if they are kind of biting like that, you could do the football hold again. Whoa, you're okay. We'll do it this way. Kind of come under and lift this leg back here. And that way we got a nice control over them. Good boy. Good boy, Harley. Nice. One last nail, buddy. Good boy, Harley. Good boy. Okay, so now we'll go back to that ear, because this is pretty much dry now. So I let that disinfectant sit. There we go. Now, finish up this ear. Oh, you're okay, buddy. You're okay. Harley. Okay. Good boy, Harley. Oh, you're all right. Harley, you're okay, buddy. So the thing about terriers is the way they were bred for. If I was dealing with like a Shih Tzu or a Maltese, I probably could be a little more firm with him and be like, "Hey, Harley, you know, stop it." But because terriers, they were bred to never back down from a bigger, more threatening animal, especially Yorkies. They were bred in England, you know, in Yorkshire, to hunt down because they were having a rat infestation. So they were bred small, so they can go in these alleys and crevices where the rats were hiding. And sometimes the rats would be bigger than they were, and they're vicious. So they're actually bred to fight to the death. So if they feel threatened, and if I'm like, "Hey, stop," and I try to overpower him, he will fight to the death, right? So I can't do that. For terriers, you have to be a little bit more sensitive to the breed and what they're bred to do, and have a good understanding that they're bred to fight. So I'm not gonna present myself as a bigger threatening animal and try to overpower him, right, buddy? Oh, so I'm gonna whenever he does start to get wild and thrash and start putting his teeth on me, then I'm just gonna back off a little bit, give him a moment to cool down, and then go back to it. Good boy, Harley. See, and that way he understands that I'm not trying to hurt him, and I'm not trying to turn this into a fight. You're all right. Hey, it's okay, buddy. Give him a nice little massage. It's okay, Harley. You're all right. There we go. See? That's what we're doing, buddy. No, it's alright, see, it's just that. Okay. Okay. You're okay, Harley. No, Harley. No, you're alright. Harley, you're okay, buddy. You're okay. It's alright. Okay. So if it was my dog Weemy, he's a Shih Tzu Maltese mix, I'd probably be a little more firm, like, hey, no, stop it, you know? But with Harley, because he's a terrier, I have to be a little bit more, you know, a little more understanding and just back off a little bit, give him time to just cool down. Because otherwise he's just going to keep escalating and then it becomes a huge fight. And that's what I don't want. Right, buddy? So we got his ears all plucked. Good boy. Got his nails trimmed. Now it's time for the bath. All right. Any questions about the bath? You know what? While we're streaming, might as well just go ahead and stream the bath too. Move that towel. There we go. Okay. Get him secure in here so he doesn't try to jump out of the sink. And let me see if I can get a little bit better angle here. Oh no, that's not. Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties here. Trying to get this camera set up. There we go. All right, so you can see him. There we go. Let's see if I can go a little higher here. All right, nice high view. There we go. All right. Let me see if I can get my charger. So I don't run out of batteries during the stream. There we go. All right. So, good boy, Harley. Well, I'm going to start off first. Oh, first I'm going to check his anal glands. Make sure they're not full. Perfect. All right. His anal glands are fine. Okay. Now I'm gonna make sure the water temperature is warm to start with, because I don't want to shock him, you know, like, oh, that's cold, you know. So I want to make sure it's warm to start with, and I'm using Equise Microtech shampoo. This is to help stop skin problems. I really like this because it doesn't really strip their oil, their natural oil. Even when I'm rinsing this off, it kind of feels like conditioner. It kind of feels slippery a little bit. All right. So make sure the water is warm. There we go. Not too hot though, so as it starts to warm up a little bit more, adjust the temperature. There we go. See, now the red spots that were right there, right? It's actually not that red anymore. The color is actually starting to come back. See that? It's starting to become the regular, just the normal healthy color of the skin. Because we removed all of that stuff that was in those pores, just packing it full, making that skin have to work extra hard. So now we have this nice smooth skin. The red spots are all gone. There we go. And see how I'm using the water to lay the hair down in the angles that I want it to go? So I'm not just going like this, you know? I'm using the water to actually train the hair to lay in the direction that I want it to lay, so it lays nicely. So Christina Pulaski said it in one of the workshops I attended, always start with the end goal in mind and always groom to structure. When you groom to structure, you can never go wrong. Meaning when you work with the natural bone structure, the natural angles of the dog, you can never go wrong. And because I have a good idea of what I want him to look like when we're finished, how I want the hair to lay nicely, with that end goal in mind, everything I do is going to help me get to that point. So I'm training the hair to lay nicely like that. Okay. I'm going to cover the nose so the water doesn't go in the nose. Cover the ears. There we go. Make sure the ear canals are covered. There we go. Cover the other side. There we go. Okay. Alright. Nice warm water. Because warm water opens up the hair fibers and the skin. Warm water relaxes. So I'm going to use the warm water to relax the skin, get those pores to open up, get the hair fibers to open up. That way the shampoo will be able to really penetrate and get inside those pores and get in those hair fibers and repair the hair, you know, clean the skin. There we go. What I'm doing is I'm starting with the sebaceous areas first, like I explained before. Down here, wherever there's more hair than skin, more skin than hair, that's the sebaceous zone. So back here, the tail, the butt, right under the tail, right here in the inner thighs, and then the armpits, right? Get those armpits really good, because this is where the oil is being produced the most. These areas, they call them the sebaceous zones. So I want to make sure the shampoo gets those areas first so it has the longest contact time. And then the ears, obviously. So the ears are another sebaceous zone. See how there's more skin than there's hair. So get the ears really good. And then I'm going to shampoo and lather the rest of the body. Get the face. Because wherever the shampoo has the most contact time, that's where it's going to be the most effective. Oh, you're okay. You're okay. Let me get that eye booger. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Alright. There we go. Okay. There we go. And also it's going to get that area the cleanest. You're going to get that nice smell. So I want to do the face next, because when the dogs are all done and the owners see their dogs, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and they, like to get right up in their face. So you want to make sure their face smells good. But what I do first is I do the tail first, and then the inner thighs, and then the armpits, then the face, and then I do the rest of the body. That way, because whenever you get a dog that smells, usually the smell is coming from one of those areas, the ears, the butt, the armpits, or down here. So that's the areas where you want to get with the shampoo first. It has the longest contact time. And really, it's not my hand scrubbing him that's going to get him clean. It's the contact time that the shampoo has. That's what's really going to get him clean. Because it's, like I said, it's not my hand scrubbing him. What it is that chemical bond that the shampoo makes with the dirt and the grease. It's that cling that happens by giving the shampoo enough time, contact time, to actually make that bond. So once we give the shampoo enough time to actually do its job, to cling on to the dirt, the old grease, all of that, when I rinse the shampoo off, that's when the cleaning actually happens. Because I'm rinsing off the shampoo, which has attached itself to the dirt particles and the old grease. So I do like to give him a nice little massage, especially in between his toes here, his feet. Give him a nice little massage, because we have to wait 5-10 minutes anyways. So might as well help him feel good, right? Give him a little massage. and also helps work that shampoo further into their skin and coat. But really, it's not the massaging or the scrubbing or anything like that that's really getting them clean. It's the contact time. And I know a lot of pet owners, I see it at the DIY, the self wash areas. As soon as the dog's lathered up, they're already rinsing the dog off. And it's like, man, the dog might smell like, vanilla or, whatever scent that shampoo is. They might smell like that for a little bit, for a couple hours, maybe the rest of the day. But then the next day, you're gonna have a smelly dog again because the shampoo didn't really have enough time to actually cling on, attach itself to the dirt, the bacteria that causes the odors. And really, you rinsed it off before it even had a chance to do any cleaning. So I feel like, you know, if you're gonna buy good shampoo, might as well give it time to actually do its job, right? Otherwise, why even spend the money to buy good shampoo? Might as well just buy, yeah. Well, you don't want to buy cheap shampoo because usually the cheap shampoo has a cheaper ingredients and it's not really going to be healthy for your dog's skin. Also, I think it's still not regulated by the FDA. So shampoo companies, especially dog shampoo companies, don't really have to list all their ingredients. So sometimes when you get the cheaper shampoos, your dog actually starts to get skin issues. All right. Well, yeah, this one here. It says soothes on contact, stoppage formula, the fastest acting skin problem shampoo ever developed. Microtech shampoo combines the superior ingredients to create the healthiest environment for healing. See that? Exactly what I said before. I think that our job as dog groomers is to provide the skin with the healthiest environment to heal itself and function, and that's what it says here. Um, to create the healthiest environment for healing. Let's see the ingredients here. Tricar, no, trichio, is that trichiocarbon, 2% as that active ingredient. Inactive ingredients, deionized water, sodium lauryl sulfate, soya midopro. So I used to be against buying shampoo with all these ingredients that I couldn't pronounce because I was like, oh man, I want all natural. But what I found out is that even the shampoos that have like very limited ingredients and it says it's all natural, they're not always being honest. At least when shampoo companies list all of these ingredients like methyl paraben, DM, high dentoin. At least you can Google all of these ingredients, and they're being honest with what's in there. And when you Google the ingredients, usually you'll find out that it's actually not that bad for the dog. It's actually in a lot of human hair products as well, human hair and skin products. Alrighty, there we go. 1 second, let me get the eye booger, buddy. 1 second, Harley. 1 second, buddy. Okay. Oh. So squirrely. Especially around his eyes. I think now, especially because he's going blind, he's really much more sensitive about his eyes. Just trying to get that eye booger. There we go. Got that eye booger. Good boy. Sorry about that, Harley. Let me just get this soap out of your eyes, buddy. Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. So before I rinse them off, like I said, the longer the shampoo has to work, the better. You want to, leave the shampoo on for at least 5 to 10 minutes. So just make sure it's all evenly spread throughout the coat, all over his body. And what I'm going to do now is brush his teeth. I'm using Vet's Best dental gel toothpaste. It's I think it's mint flavor. but I don't really smell anything when I use it. Yeah, it doesn't really have a scent to it. It doesn't really have a smell to it. But what I learned was that when you're brushing the dog's teeth, it's not really the toothpaste that matters. It's the mechanical act of brushing. So you want to get in there and actually brush their teeth because it's that mechanical act of brushing that's going to give you all the benefits. Because you want to break up that biofilm, that plaque that builds up in their teeth. If you'll let me. Good boy, buddy. So we want to actually brush it. You okay? Good boy. There we go. Because it's that scrubbing, brushing action. It's the mechanical act of brushing that's actually going to give you all the benefits of the brushing, toothbrushing. Because if we just smear the toothpaste on his teeth and expect the enzymes to do all the cleaning, that's kind of like getting Colgate or Crest or whatever your preferred shampoo, preferred toothpaste is, and just smearing it on your teeth and expecting that to do all the cleaning for you. It's actually not smearing the toothpaste on the teeth that's going to help clean the teeth. It's actually brushing that's going to... Terriers. They don't call them terriers for no reason. You're okay. You're okay, Harley. Let me get the back teeth, buddy. There we go. So I'm using my body mechanics to try to counter his movements. There you go. Oh, you're okay. You're okay. Harley. Harley. Hey, buddy. Oh, okay. Hey, Harley. There you go. Good boy. There you go. Awesome. So now we got his teeth brush. All right, good boy. Sorry about that. He is a fighter though. Man, you gotta give him that. Okay. So now that the shampoo has had time to sit, we got his teeth. Good boy. Give him a little bit of massage. All right. Here you go. Now when I rinse, I'm going to rinse with cool water because, like I said, warm water relaxes and opens up the pores and the hair fibers. Cool water is going to close it up, seal it back up, right? Because cool water causes it to contract. So warm water makes it relax, cool water makes it close up. So we're going to rinse with cool water to help everything seal back up. There we go. Oh, nice and smooth now. I feel some grittiness, like little grains of sand, but I feel it moving, right? So that means it's coming out of the skin. I can feel it moving while I, sweep it across the coat, across the body. There we go. So I can tell it's gonna wash out. Wow. I don't know if you can see that. It's like little skin dander thing. That's what I'm feeling. Little grains of sand almost. And now that I know that it's coming out of the skin, it's gonna wash, it's gonna rinse off now. So, there we go. Now I say cool water, but I'm gonna do cold water, because again, I don't want him to get shocked by cold water. So it is cooler, it's cool water. There we go. Good boy, Harley. There you go. Good boy, Harley. There we go. Again, I'm making sure the water points in the direction that I want the hair to lay, so that even while I'm rinsing, I'm still reinforcing, training that hair to lay nicely in the direction that I want it to lay, in the natural lay of the coat, right? Reinforcing that. So always work with the end goal in mind, so that everything you do is getting you closer and closer to that end goal. go. Good boy. Isn't Harley doing so good though? Man, it's almost hard to believe that this is the same dog from like 5 years ago, where he was just on full on attack mode. But now, there's parts where he's a little uncooperative and a little bit, squirrely. But hey, that's totally understandable. And it's fine, it's workable, I could work with that. But when they're just snapping at you, like a snapping turtle and just acting all wild, and just aggressive, that can become challenging. But now, he's a sweetheart. He trusts me now. There are a few times he still gets a little bit mouthy, but he doesn't snap or clamp down hard or try to bite hard. He's just communicating, his fear or his discomfort, or even just the fact that he disagrees with what's going on. And it's his body. He has every right to say, no, I don't like that. But by me staying calm and persistent and patient, I'm letting him know, I know you don't like this, but it's something I gotta do, we have to do it. So I wanna make sure his nose is covered so I don't get water in his nostrils. There we go. Make sure his ear is covered so I don't get water in his ear canal. There we go. There we go. Make sure that ear canal is covered. There we go. And cover his eyes. There we go. You're okay, Harley. There we go. It's really weird because you want to be firm but yet gentle. It's a fine balance. You want equal parts firmness, so he knows that this is something that has to be done. You need him here, but then also equal amounts of gentleness as well, and a little bit of give, so that he doesn't feel trapped or tortured. You're okay. There we go. There we go. There we are. Good boy. Alrighty. And then just give him one more thorough rinse to make sure there's no shampoo residue anywhere. Because even just a little bit of residue left over, even if it's just a little bit of shampoo that's still on the skin, it's going to cause that skin to get itchy, and irritable. You might see some skin issues come up from there. So a good rule of thumb is you want to rinse for at least twice as long as it took to lather them. So rinse, 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 and then rinse a little more. There we go. Make sure there's no... Good boy, Harley. You're such a good boy. There we are. Alright. And like I said, with this shampoo, if you're gonna use Equis Microtech, with this shampoo, it does feel a little bit. It does feel a little bit like conditioner almost. And like even though I rinsed and rinsed and rinsed, and there really is no shampoo left, it still leaves a little bit of a like a conditioner type feel to it. And I really like that. So I know that I didn't just strip off all the oils, and his skin and his skin and his coat is now like dry and open. Because then that'll leave it wide open to bacteria, yeast. There we go. Because bacteria and fungus, they're very opportunistic. If they see an opening, they'll move right in. And then it usually takes a day or two, but a day or two later, you'll start smelling your dog because of the bacteria and the yeast. There we go. Good towel dry. And I know I say, you don't want to do all that, but when I'm towel drying them, I give them a nice little scrub down with the towel. But then again, I go through and I make sure I smooth that hair back down. There we go. Okay. All right, Harley. Go. Any questions? No, I don't see any more questions coming in. All right. Or maybe it's my. Oh, there's a lot of questions that came in. Shoot, I didn't even see any of this. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Let me try to get to some of this. Vicky says, so you use a slicker, then comb and brush all before the bath? Yes. My favorite dog dad. Nice. Well, if you want to be technical, good grooming is about overall health care, not just skincare. I guess. See, I was going to be nice, but I can't help to point out when you're somewhat wrong all the time. Awesome. Man, I've been missing all of this. Good morning, Jan. Cindy says, good morning. Trying to learn how to groom my own dogs. Have 3 different types. Love what? Thank you. Okay. Jane is excellent. Wow, thank you guys. Okay, Matt, Maltese, Shih Tzu, Aussie Doodle, and German Shepherd, Newfoundland. Okay. Watching from Canada, Linda says, I have 3 Bichon Maltese. Wow, okay. But, this process works with those as well. Good with dog. What did he use for ear wash? I used Zymox. I used Zymox ear cleaner for the ear wash to clean the ears with. I have a Schnoodle and 2 Schnoodle Bichon. What do you? Seniors, okay, Maltese Shih Tzu. Harley is very well behaved, and yeah, right. Oh my goodness, Harley, I'm so proud of him. Okay, I'm really learning a lot about bathing process. Yeah, thank you, awesome, Vicky. Perfect. Okay, so I got caught up with all the comments. All right, we'll do like that. Now, because even though I said this doesn't really strip the oils and it feels kind of like conditioner on him, I still like to use a little bit of conditioner. I got a little bit of this left, Equis Avocado Mist. It's a leave-in conditioner. It's infused with avocado oil. I'm running low on this. I did order this, so I'll have some conditioning spray when I run out. This is Bark Logic Common Leave-In Lavender Conditioners infused with lavender essential oil. So, but I like this, so I'm gonna use this. There we go. And I like to do it while they're still wet, so that the hair can absorb the conditioner. It's like puttering. There we go. Make sure I get the sebaceous zones. There we go. Oh man. Okay, well, looks like that's done. So then I'll just use a little bit of this. There we go. Nice. And then for the face, make sure I cover the eyes. And I try to not to get it on their nose either. Okay. So that way, the conditioner can start to, work in that skin and coat. Give him one more little rub down with the towel. And then I'm going to dry him. And when I dry him, I'm going to be brushing and blowing the hair in the direction that I want it to lay. Further training that hair to lay in the direction that I want. So that way when I do the haircut, he'll already look really nice. And I'm just trimming him up, shaping him up with the haircut because he's already going to look really nice. The hair is going to be laying nicely in the directions that highlight their natural angles. There we go. But before I do that, I like to file their nails while they're still wet. There we go, keep them a little warm. So I like to file their nails first while they're still wet before I dry them. So, and what I did this morning when I was cleaning the tools, I sprayed this with the Myers disinfectant and just let it sit. So I know that this is all disinfected now. There we go. And I'm going to turn him so I can use that football hold just in case he gets a little, squirrely with the nail file. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. So I want to visualize him behaving well. I want to make sure that I have a nice image in my mind of him behaving well and just relaxing and letting me file his nails. Good boy. Okay. There we go. Good boy, Harley. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Because I like to do it right after the bath because while it's still wet, you're not going to get all that powdery stuff flying around everywhere from the nails, from the, filing the nails. Also, because I clip the tips of it, the water soaks in there, and now the tip of this nail is not as sharp, and it's kind of softer because the water is soaked in. There we go. There we go, so you can see a little better. So, oh, you're all right. So now that the water has soaked in that nail at the tip of the nail bed there, and it's softer and it's wet, when I file it, it's much easier. So that now it's nice and smooth and round. Oh, sorry. Nice and smooth and round. There we go. You're alright. You're okay. There we go. Nice and smooth. There we go. And you can actually see the nerve. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but you can actually see like a little pulp there in the middle. And that's the nerve. So we expose the nerve and we file the nail nice and smooth around that nerve. That way the nerve will actually get stimulated and draw back into the nail, into the paw. That way we can go shorter and shorter every time. So I forget who said it. I think it was Jay Scruggs, or it might have been Scott Wasserman, one of those. But they were saying that if you're not exposing the nerve, you're not really doing any good. Because you want to expose that nerve so that each time you file them, each time you do the nail clipping, the nerve will draw further and further back into the paw, and that way you can go shorter and shorter every time. It prevents the nerve from growing out with the nail bed, because once it grows out too long, you can only cut so far before causing it to bleed. Good boy, Harley. Good boy. Yeah. There we go. Okay, Harley. There we go. So all the nails are filed. Now, for the drying. Okay. There we go. All right, no questions? Let's get to the drying. So I'm just using a regular hand dryer, Remington. Did I miss a question? Okay, no. So this is just a regular hand dryer. I like it because it has cool air, medium, and hot. I start with the hot, keep it moving till it gets a little dry. Then I do medium, and then I finish with the cold air. All right. And now the conditioner has had time to really soak in that hit into the hair and into the skin. All right? There we go. You know what? I'm just going to take this off because I'm going to have to dry all of that anyways. So, there we go. All right. What time is it? Okay, perfect. I got plenty of time. Okay, hold on, let me... Okay, sorry, I was just replying back to Harley's mom, actually. She wanted to know how he acted when he saw me, and I told her he did great. Okay, so, here we go. It's gonna get a little loud. There we go. And here we go. The reason why I work from the back to the front rather than the front to the back is because I'll show you. See, it kind of whips the hair, right? But when you work from the back to the front, see how it lays the hair nicely? So that's why I like to work from the back to the front, because it just lays the hair nice as you're blow drying it. And look at that. Look at how fast he's drying, because this is mostly live hair with oil in it. You know, it has oil and it's sealed, it's live, so it's literally repelling off the moisture. So he's already pretty much dry now. Isn't that amazing? So the drying process doesn't really take long when you follow the steps. See how smart they are though? When he knew that this arm was here, right? When he knew that this was here, he used it against me because he knew I had to move around this. But once I took this off, once I removed that arm, he knows that it's gone now. So he just lays it. They're so smart, seriously. And it's cold air, just so everyone knows. So when I set it down on the table there, just blowing on his legs, it was actually set to the cold air setting, so it was cold. It was cold air blowing on him. All right, and you see how he was like kind of fussing, and especially for his head, too firm with him because he is a terrier, and terriers they don't play that, you know. If it was my dog Weenie and he was doing that, whipping his head back and forth, I would probably be a little more firm with them and just like, hey, Weenie, no, right? And my dog Weenie would be like, oh man, you know, just all right, and he would probably be submissive. But with Harley here, if I tell him, hey, Harley, no, he's gonna be like, what? What'd you say? You know, like, oh, it's on, you know, and then it'll escalate pretty quickly and it'll turn into a big fight. And that's what I don't want. And so with Harley, or you know any terrier really, you want to be a little bit more conscientious, a little bit more aware, give a little bit more. You know, let them kind of work it out on their own, forcing them, but you're not going to give up either. You're being patiently persistent. There we go. And then as long as they trust you, you know, they usually will just kind of, you know, almost let out a sigh and like, all right, let's finish this. But look how beautiful and shiny his coat is now, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I got this plugged in. There we go. Just want to show you this beautiful coat here. Look at it. He's all dry now. Look at this beautiful shiny coat and this all those like welts, you know. Look at that. Beautiful. So now we just have to do his haircut. Okay. I guess I'll just put the camera right here. All right. Now for the haircut. Any questions? Cindy says, awesome. Nice. Right, Cindy? Okay. Now for the haircut. So what I'm gonna do is because the texture of his skin, I'm gonna plug this in. Because his skin, not his skin, because his hair is so fine and soft and silky, it's gonna be difficult to get a nice smooth cut going with the grain. If I went down here like this, it's not really gonna give me a nice smooth cut, even cut. So I'm using an O comb over a 30 blade. So this is the 1/2 millimeter blade, the close one. This one is 5/8 of an inch or 16 millimeters. And what I'm gonna do is go backwards, and that's gonna give me a closer cut, and it's gonna lift these soft, fine hairs into the blade and give me a nice even cut. See that? So it's taking about half the length off. See that? And I'm able to get all these fine hairs and get a nice even cut because I'm going against the grain, against the lay of the hair. And I wouldn't do this with the blade because it could damage the follicles. So I would do this with just the blade. Maybe a 4 blade, but not a 7 or a 10. So I only do reverse, like going against the grain, with a comb guard attachment. So the blade is actually not coming in contact with the skin. There we go. There's good. There we go. I'm going to do the legs longer so that he doesn't look like he's walking on stick legs. He actually has like sturdy legs. There we go. It just makes him look more balanced and proportionate. So I'm going to do the legs with the little bit longer comb. So I'm going to like kind of stop right here where the shoulder is. Go down here and blend it. There we go. And now I'm going to comb it all back down and then do the other side. There we go. Now we'll do the other side. So see how this side is short, this side is long. See that? There. This side here. Sorry, I'm stepping on the power cord here. There we go. Just want to turn them here. There we go. There we go. So now, again with this side, just comb everything back down. And that way, he looks nice and smooth all over. Alright. There we go. There we go. Because if I went with the grain, it would have just left a lot of choppiness and unevenness. But because I lifted the hair up, you know, we got all the hair cut evenly. Okay. Now I'm going to switch over to an A comb, which is 19 millimeters, so 6 millimeters longer. It's 3/4 of an inch. Do the head and the legs with this one. So that way his legs are a little longer. Sorry, he keeps backing up. Alrighty, so now the head. Alright. So see, the legs are a little longer than the body, right? To help give him a little bit more balanced look. There we go. Wow, he feels so soft and silky. Oh my goodness. Okay. There we go. So now for his head. You're okay, buddy? There we go. Alright. Oh, you're okay. You're alright, buddy. So for his head, I'm just going to go straight back. With the A-comb, with the 3/4 length. Just go straight back. And then I'm going to just kind of skim down the side here to make the bottom, to get the outline. There we go. So now we have the shape of the head, and I'm going to scissor the rest. A little bit. And right here in the back, you can go reverse right here just to kind of help blend that a little bit better, and then go back down. Just on the back of the neck, help blend it in. See that? So now, I'm going to scissor everything up. and he will be done. Nice. Get that comb. So I like to start with the in between the eyes. Any comments? Oh, love Harley. Hey, Lee, how are you? Yeah, right? Harley's awesome. And he feels so nice now. Even his legs just feel so silky and smooth. Okay. All right, Harley. So I like to flip the scissors in. I think I showed a different video. We're doing the scissor flip, palming the shears. So that way, when I comb him, the scissors are tucked under in my palm so that there's no risk of him turning into them by accident, and getting hurt by accidental injury. And then you can just put the comb right here on the hand that I'm holding his head with, and then flip the shears back out. There we go, right in between the eyes. I'm doing this with thinning shears, just making this little triangle right in between the eyes here. Flip it back. There we go. Yeah, I'll just put it down there since I'm holding on at a weird angle. There we go. So now that eye is opened up. See that? Now you can see that eye really nicely compared to this other side. See where all the hair is still in front of that eye. Okay, so now we'll do this other side. There we go. So rather than just pull his head this way, I use the comb. See, give him a barrier that way. There we go. And so encourage him to face this way. Oh, you're okay. There we go, right in between the eyes. There we go. So we got a nice little triangle there. See that? And you can see his eyes. All right. And she does like his muzzle being as full as possible. But I do like to tidy up a little bit where you can see like the hair sticking up and out. So just thin that a little bit. There we go. That way, there we go. Nice little muzzle there. Now for the ears. For the ears, I like to do with the curved shears, right? Get a nice sharp curve cut. And I like to do it the way I would do a Westie's ears. So comb all the hair to one side, to the back. Well, when you're cutting the back side. So get all the hair going to one side here. And then I feel for the ear leather, so it's right there, right? My tip of my thumb where the ear leather is, and then I'm gonna cut right to there, a little triangle. There we go, see that? Cut a little triangle there. Now I'm gonna comb everything to the front. And kind of use my fingers to pull the hair forward, right, to the front of the ear. Feel where the tip of the ear is, and then do the same thing. Cut a little triangle right there. And neaten it up. There we go. And now, when you comb it back, you'll have a little tip. And then you can just shape the hair right to the tip. There we go. See that? So now we have a little tip of the ear. See that? Almost like a Westie's ear. And now we can comb this all forward and just shape it up. There we go. Let's see here. Okay. Is my head in the way? Shoot, sorry about that. Just trying to see what I'm cutting. Okay. Clean up the back here. Make sure the neck is nice and highlighted. There we go. And make sure the front of the ear is nice and defined. There we go. And now I'm just going to use this line here to make that circle. To round out this head here. Make sure the head and neck is defined, clearly separated. There we go. There we go. So just to show you the difference, see that? So this ear is not done yet. This ear is nice and shaped. See that? So let's do this ear same way. Pull all the hair back. Scissor that side of the triangle, that side of the tip. Pull the hair forward. Okay. I'll work on this side here so you can see. Okay. Just hold on one second, maybe if I get on here. There we go. I'm fine with this side. There we go. we go. Now once you have the bottom of the ear set, that line, then you can use that as the line that you make that circle, the round circle on the bottom of the face, on the muzzle. There we go. Clean that up around the neck. Alrighty, now for the visor. Any questions? I'm okay. Awesomely. I saw your post about you having to walk home. Good for you. You didn't you didn't just give up, and you had a great attitude. I like that. Cindy Rose, would you do about the same on the Maltese? On the Maltese, no, because the Maltese have like the ears that kind of fold down. So I would do more like a rounded ear, or just trim the ear, kind of like bob them on the side of the face. So Maltese, I'll do a different on the ears and the face. See the front here? What I like to do is I like to comb it all out, right, and then just cut it straight down. There we go. And when you do that and then comb it back, it's nice and rounded. Okay. There we go. And now for the visor. For the visor, I'm going to comb everything forward. There we go. Comb everything forward. And then we'll make a nice little, like a half moon, like a circle around the front. There we go. A little circle here, like half a circle. And then we'll match it to the ear. On this side, the same thing. And match it to the ear. There we go. There we go. So now, we just comb it all back. And then we can smooth it all out with the thinners. All right, let's see that? Now you can see his eyes clearly, right? His ears are shaped nice and round. Okay, so what we can do now is with the thinners, just kind of soften it all up. Okay. There we go. All right. And she does like his muzzle, you know, like as long as possible. So I'm not gonna trim too much there anymore. Clean that up a little bit. There we go. There we go. All right. So now, now that we got his head and his face done, his ears, look how handsome he looks. Oh, if he'll just stop moving his head like Stevie Wonder. There we go. See a little unevenness here. There we go. Harley, look here. What's this? There we go. There we go. Okay, so now we'll do his feet, his legs and his feet, and he's pretty much done. Gotta clean up back here a little bit. See, hair sticking up out here around his butt area, so clean that up a little bit with scissors. Do his feet, and then he is done. So this is why I like to do the nail filing and all that before I start the haircut, because now, once I get the scissors out, I do the haircut, he's done, you know? So I'll start from the bottom up. Clean up the bottom of his feet. And then once the bottom of his feet is all cleaned up, we put the foot back down. There we go. And comb the foot out and make it nice and round. There we go. And then we'll clean it up with the thinners afterwards anyways, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But you do want to get it nice and rounded, right up to the, there we go. So now that foot is nice and rounded, right? You can see. Tidy up the angles here. Make sure it looks nice and clean. There we go. Nice. And again, I'm going to clean that up with the thinners as well. So I just want to make sure I got the basic shape. And then I'll soften it all up with the thinners. Oh. Nice. Here we go. Oh. Yeah, okay, Harley. Good boy.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Ruthana. How are you? Harley's doing so good.
I've been rejected as a juror.
Oh, man. No way.
Yeah. Well,